Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Tan Razai. Today's presentation is going to be conducted by Hannah Taha, one of our senior technical consultants. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick introduction to Nogalis, and then we'll hand it over to Hannah. Today, she's going to be presenting a guide to managing Infor year-end updates for accounts payable and payroll. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of that. She's been doing that for all our managed service customers for many years. So make sure you use her as a good resource today in the Q&A portion of the presentation. Once again, my name is Tan Razai. I'm with Nogalis here. We have several of our team members, so we're here to answer any questions at the end. If you're not familiar with Nogalis, we're an Infor Alliance partner. We've been around since 2003 working with the Infor customer base. And the bulk of our business is actually our managed services. This is where we essentially handle all the day-to-day maintenance and upkeep of the Infor applications for our customers. A lot of Lawson customers in that mix. And it results in about a 40% reduction in maintenance cost overall for our customers, 98% reduction in downtime, and it's a 100% US-based team, all our employees, and everybody has at least 10, 15 years of Lawson experience, and lots of happy referenceable customers. So if you're ever looking for a managed support and service partner, please reach out. The other part of our business is essentially our consulting services. This is where we do everything that most of the partners do: implementations, upgrades, functional and technical help, cloud migrations. We do a lot of mergers and acquisition type work. If you're doing divestitures or mergers, we work with a lot of customers in that sense, kind of running those projects. And any custom application development, that sort of thing, also falls within our consulting services. I do want to give you a quick, brief introduction into our Apex product. It's just a 1-minute video, and then we're off to hand it off to Hannah. So this is a quick introduction to Apex.
Are you maintaining a Lawson system for archive reasons only? Upkeeping an old ERP system for data retention can be difficult and costly. There's hardware and software maintenance and licenses, data center real estate and energy costs, backup, storage, disaster recovery, internal and third-party staff costs. You're also taking some big risks. Outdated components like WebSphere, Java pose security risks. Upkeeping old browser support is extremely cumbersome. User access gets more challenging each year. A simple hardware failure can wipe everything out in an instance. There's a much better way. APIX Data Archive by Nogalis makes it possible to migrate all your data to the cloud, provide your users with a simple, lightweight web interface, gives you the freedom to decommission your Lawson application servers forever. Step 1. We migrate 100% of your Lawson data to a cloud database. Step 2. We deploy our serverless solution. Step 3. We set up security for your users and provide them access to your data. Highlights: fully managed fixed cost solution for data archive. 100% serverless with nothing to maintain or break. Satisfies even the toughest data retention requirements. Provide access to all your data in a way that is intuitive both to existing Lawson users and to those who have never used Lawson. Visit Nogalis.com to find out more about APIX Lawson Data Archive today.
Okay, great. So essentially, that was a quick, brief introduction to our Apex solution. This is if you're moving away from Lawson or you're trying to archive a good portion of the data, that's where we can help you. These are some customers that are currently using the Apex service. Some of Lawson's biggest customers that have moved on to other ERP applications. So if that's in your roadmap, please keep us in mind. With that, and this is a quick QR code to get to that, but you can just find it on our website by just going to nogalis.com. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Hannah. Hannah has been with us for many years and is part of our managed support and services team. This is, again, where we handle the day-to-day operation and maintenance of Lawson for our customers. And she's an integral part of that team. And she's usually in charge of all the year-end updates. So I thought it would be really good for her to kind of tell you how she does that. So in case you're in charge of doing that at your workplace, you may have some additional insight you can get from her. But I encourage you to stay until the end to ask her any questions you might have. So Hannah, I'm going to go ahead and have you share your screen at this point, and you can drive going forward.
Okay. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Hannah Taha. Like Tan said, I'm a technical consultant with Nogalis, and today I'll be giving you a few tips on the Infor year-end regulatory patching that will be released by Infor at the end of the year. I'm going to be going over a few tips for installing the 2025 patches. We will discuss why the year-end updates matter, the timeline for the release of the patches, the documentation, and where you can get the documentation, as well as what the documentation you will need. I will also discuss how to search for and download the patches and review the process of the changes that will help you facilitate your testing. I'm going to discuss the installation process of the CTP and provide testing of the patches. As you probably know, the year-end regulatory patches will keep you in compliance with your W-2s, 1099s, and/or your ACA reporting. They will ensure that the Lawson data is accurate for tax filings and for vendor payments. Many forms and/or report errors are symptoms of missing patches. And being current on updates will maintain your Lawson functionality and your supportability. Infor will release a KB article at the end of November. That article will contain the dates and the documentation that is needed for the patch. Make sure to subscribe and follow the article so that anytime that they make any changes, you're going to get notified. The year-end communication process starts in November, and then the downloads will be available around the beginning of December. That is when the install files, the PDFs, and the change documentation will be available. To get the documentation and downloads, you're going to log into the Infor Extreme site and go to Products and Downloads by clicking on the product search on the right-hand side. Once you get there, you're going to want to enter the year 2025 and year end, and then hit search, and you're going to get a listing of all the 2025 year ends. You will get a listing for all platforms, so make sure that you're going to select the one that applies to your organization. You only need to download the products that you actually use. So if you don't run benefits or AP, then you don't need to download those patches. Just download the ones that are applicable to your organization. Once you get the files, you go ahead and untar them. And then inside, you're going to find two HTML files. One is going to be a Delta README, and the other one's going to be a regular README file. The Delta lists the major changes. It's on a high-level basis, but it'll show you what changes are in the patch. The regular README file is more detailed. You need to review both of these to look for any job parameter changes on any of the forms or in the batch jobs. If there are any, it's going to require you to create a new batch job, because the new parameters on the batch job will cause the fields to shift or move, or so that the old job parameters could be off once the patch is installed. I recommend always adding new jobs to any of the new forms. The other changes that may occur with the year-end patches is that they may add fields to a form, which will impact your adding queries and your uploads. They might change the interface file by adding a column to an interface conversion file, for example, your AP 520. Be sure to search for any database changes in the README file by searching for the keyword DB reorg. If a DB reorg is required, it means that the structure of the database is going to change. If there are new forms with the patch, you will need to apply new security to the rules and assign them to the users who will have access to these new forms. Since it's still early, I don't have any information on what will be changed this year because they haven't released the patches yet. But when they do, you're going to want to review if the AP 145 has any changes. Make sure that all your boxes are set up and aligned correctly. The AP 245 may have the most changes in that form. They may add new tabs and/or remove tabs, and they may add or remove fields. They also may move fields from one tab to another tab. If that's the case, it's best to add a new job with a new name for the AP 245. The installation process is the same as any other CTP. You download the patches and you put them in a folder or a directory on your Lawson server, Lawson application server. You're going to use the law app install command to preview, update on each of the patches. And you can do all of them with a preview and update first, and then run activate after all the patches have been run with the update. The activate is going to pick up any of the patches that have been ran in update and have not been activated. So that helps you save 3 or 4 steps there. So when you are testing, of course, you're going to want to test this in non-production environment first before you apply the patches to production. Test several different types of processing just to make sure that nothing has been impacted by the changes. You're going to want to run daily job processing, inquire on forms, run a couple of batch jobs, process payroll and make sure that the taxes are calculated correctly. Validate your data, verify the benefits are deducted correctly, run your month-end process, run your 1099 and validate that data, run your W-2s, and run ACA, if applicable. The timeline for applying your patches is going to be like November to install the patches and begin testing, December to validate your reports and reconcile your data, and January to finalize and submit your W-2s and 1099s. So the key takeaways would be to test early and document everything, communicate timelines with your HR, payroll, and finance teams, and leverage Nogalis resources for troubleshooting and for guidance. Thank you for your time today. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. You can type your questions in the chat.